Okay. Well, hello again, and welcome to another episode of
Two sides to a coin.
I'm your host, Alicia Curry,
I'm your other host, Cassie Corey,
and we're here to talk about everything
and nothing.
And today's topic, we're going to talk about toxic work environment.
Yeah.
Because recently on the news,
the Ellen Show has come under fire for apparent or alleged racial, sexual harassment, abuse.
everything under the sun.
Yeah, people have accused Ellen of being a toxic host. People have
Toxic
accused
boss.
the environment of being not just stressful, but genuinely harmful to people's well-being.
And it's not like just one source or two people.
No, several employees and former employees.
Like 15, 20, it's been a lot.
Yeah, a former producer for the show came forward and spoke. Like, it's getting pretty bad.
Yeah, so we wanted to talk a little bit about toxic work environments because, many of you who are Cassie's peers are in your first jobs or first real after college job, looking for your career and getting into really these environments. And so what is good workplace culture versus toxic workplace culture?
Right.
And I myself haven't worked in a corporate arena, position, whatever, for a very long time. I only did it
self-employed for forever.
Forever. I only worked for a short time in, and I would say it was a great job. It was a wonderful job, amazing job. But what made it stressful and what made it possibly considered toxic was some of the managers and some of the people in the higher positions. And this is really important because your leaders and the people in higher positions hold so much authority over the culture of the workplace. It doesn't necessarily come down from the CEO or the founder or the president,
but the face of the company.
Or the face of the company, like in Ellen's case. It happens within the manager level, the senior executive level, and so
the team leadership,
leaders,
wherever.
Anyone that has any kind of authority, if they want to lord that authority over others, that creates toxicity. Because they, like when I was in my my career flying, when I was in my...
You were a flight attendant.
Yes.
Not everyone knows that.
Okay, so years ago,
before Cassie.
Before a lot of things. When I was a flight attendant, the culture was, I torture you because I was tortured in your position. So if you're a newbie, anybody who had any kind of seniority, even if it's a year old or even 6 months more than you, tortured you because they were tortured. And as they move up the ranks, they continue. It's a domino effect.
Down, yeah.
It's just a domino effect. So they get into the management level and they're going to torture you because they were tortured. And not everybody. This is not everybody. I'm just saying that that was kind of the mentality, that we torture the subordinates because we went through that. And it's in a lot of industries. It's in a lot of industries.
When you look at freshman senior mentality in high school, in middle school, even everything. When 6th graders come in, they were the top dogs in their elementary school. Then the 8th graders knock them down once they get to middle school. Then when they become 8th graders, they knock those 6th graders down, and then they become 9th graders, and the seniors knock them down. It's literally like,
it doesn't end.
We never left school.
We never left school. You're still
that same mentality kind of just follows. Yeah.
So what do you do about that kind of mentality is really about developing strong leaders. It's about developing team success. And it's not about now, because I was tortured, I torture you. It's about team success. How do we grow and succeed together in this organization, in this company, for the good of the company and for the benefit of our clients, our customers, and everybody else?
Yeah, there needs to be a genuine approach by the leaders in the corporation at every level.
At every level.
Like, commitments, I don't even know. Like,
well, Missy, that's something that I do for my company.
Yeah.
That I work with organizations to help really develop that organizational culture of cooperation, collaboration. There's no competition, and it's not a dog eat dog kind of situation, but
Right.
we're all,
you're not trying to step on somebody else to get ahead. Yeah, you're all moving together,
and we're all succeeding together. Because we base, from my approach, we base everything on the strengths and what your behavioral strengths are, and how your strengths align with the goals that your team or that you are tasked with. And so if you align people where they can be most productive and happy and healthy and really give the best contribution to the organization, then they will always be happy in what they're doing. They'll always thrive, and the company will thrive. And so it's about creating that thriving environment that from the leader, like you start from the bottom and go up, everybody's happy, everybody's thriving, because everybody knows their place and their value, and what they're doing has value to the organization and pushes or propels everybody forward.
Yeah. There's also the accountability factor that is very, very important. If you are in a position of authority and you are appointing someone else to a position just under you, but still over other people, you need to be accountable for that person's actions. Yeah. And you also need to be someone that the people under that person can come to if they're having an issue with that person. Yeah. It can't be oh, well, if you have a problem, take it up with them directly, because that's not always as easy as it sounds. Yeah. Sometimes there are sensitive issues that require,
HR is supposed to be
right, an impartial sort of party to that. But
one of the things too that we do to help organizations grow is blind surveys. Doing a lot of blind surveys to really gauge where people are, because when there's a certain level of anonymity, people feel freer to say things, to express really what's happening and what's going on. And when you can do these blind surveys on a regular basis, and people feel safe that they're not going to lose their job if they speak out against or speak up about a situation that's happening, and they're not don't feel like they're at risk of
being singled out,
being targeted, or anything like that, then there's more opportunity for open dialogue and to really see what the issues are. And I feel like that was an opportunity that Ellen's show could have used, some blind surveys to really gauge where people are if they don't feel comfortable going to HR or going to someone else, because they feel, if I step out, they know who I am, and then now my position is at risk. And somewhere in Hollywood where these positions are so coveted, that you don't want to lose your job, because you don't even know if you're going to get another job, if you're going to get blackballed or something and not be able to get another job. So doing blind surveys, see that's what my company does. We can do a series of blind surveys to really gauge where your people are, and then you can take positive action, actually knowing what is happening, and not just thinking, well, maybe we could just, like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. It's not that approach. It's a really strategic approach, using brain science and analytics, using a lot of analytical data to really turn an organization around that has a toxic culture, or even just aligning the workforce with the work that needs to be done, so that people are being productive. So anyway, I get off my high horse, because that's, I could just talk about this forever.
I mean, I agree. Really, and as someone who has done food service and retail positions, I can speak to toxic work environments as well on those levels. And I don't think it's very fair to say, oh, well, those are entry-level jobs and those aren't careers, like you're supposed to get roughed up in those areas, and you're supposed to, that's when you're getting your feet wet, you shouldn't complain about them because they're a learning experience and all of that. I don't believe that, Bull, because a lot of people do actually end up
That's their career, managing.
Yeah. You know, they work their way up through, like, to the corporate level from the bottom.
Or own a franchise. They end up owning a franchise of whatever that food service company is.
Right. And I feel that the culture in those places is also just almost expected to be toxic. That, you know, people don't really speak up when there's an issue, or when people speak up, you know, management or someone above, right, like they're kind of like, oh, well, you're just complaining, like it's really not that big of a deal. And I mean, like, I'm not gonna say any names or out anybody. Certain people will know what I'm talking about. But I had a job where I had a coworker who was misogynistic, racist, homophobic, and he would spout about that all the time. He would insult customers to their faces, and we would be standing there next to him like, what is wrong with you? And he would, like, occasionally, like, touch some of the female workers inappropriately, or hug some of them for too long, or say certain things that were just not okay. And so a group of us would kind of talk about it, like, hey, like, have you noticed that, or has he done that to you also? And we brought it up to one of the managers, and he was almost like a manager's pet. Like, half the managers didn't like him, the other half loved him. He would just get away with anything. And it was just really frustrating to have to work alongside him. You know, like, wow. I had told him off. A couple of other people had told him off, so he knew, like, not to mess with us anymore. But, like, just seeing him do it to, like, all the new girls that would come in, or, like, all the other people, and just, like, having to warn them instead of just being able to
do your job,
have him removed,
and have him removed, because
he was a big contributing factor to the toxicity of that workplace, and it was really frustrating to deal with. And I don't think,
like, what is your recourse? You know, after you go to the manager doesn't do anything, then what?
Right, like, what are you supposed to do? You know, the owner of that location was also, like, really, really great buddies with all of the managers there, so it's not like he would have done anything if we had gone to him. And
well, so you think, yeah.
Well, yeah, I assumed. I didn't personally go to him.
Yeah.
I didn't bother taking any further action because I had already planned to leave like a month later. So I was just like, I'm just gonna stick it out. But that shouldn't be the case.
It should not.
It, you know, like, people should not feel helpless even after they've spoken out. There should be a course of action that people can take. I know that not every place is, you know, like, unionized, not every place has an HR, but, you know, if you
blind surveys,
if you yourself ever get into a position of authority or a position of power in some workplace, whether it's you're a CEO of your own company, you are a franchise owner, you're a manager of a department store or something, you know, foster your own work environment. Foster the culture that you want to come to work to. Don't just go off of what the people before you have done, what people are saying you should do. Just, you know, be true to your own convictions and rule that place the way you would want to be ruled over.
you know, treat people how you want to be treated. But the thing is, I had 47% of turnover last year in 2019 of top talent. There was a 47% turnover of top talent. And there's another statistic, I don't remember it, I don't have it right here on me right now, but that I think it's like 64% of people leave a job even if they like the job because of bad managers.
Right.
Like, there's a high percentage of people that leave an organization or leave a job because they don't feel supported, they don't feel validated, no value, and anything like that, because the managers aren't properly trained in leadership.
Right.
So,
or they don't care.
And they don't care. So, you know, it's hurting your business. It is hurting your business, whether you think it's not or not. Whether you think so or not.
Whether or not you think it's hurting your business, it's hurting your business.
Hurting your business. And it will catch up to you.
Yeah. And, you know, people at, like, Ellen DeGeneres' level are not always aware of what's going on because they can't be present in those smaller levels, you know, like custodial staff and caterers and all those little jobs that people don't think about.
But those are the ones that get backbone. They're the foundation of what happens.
And those are the ones that are neglected, abused, mistreated the most. But, you know, how is Ellen supposed to know how her staff is treating those employees?
Or every employee at every level.
Right, because she's the face of the company. Like, to her face, they're not going to act that way, obviously. No one's going to walk up to her and complain like, hey, Ellen, you know, I got shoved by this producer on your show. Oh, who are you again?
Yeah.
I'm a custodian on the 3rd floor. You know, like, it's not to say that she's not the type of person who would care about those people, but it just like that would not make it to her. So it really comes down to the people that trickle down from under her.
It doesn't always make it to the top.
Yeah, you're not always going to know what's going on behind the scenes of your company. Listen, if you own a company or you're thinking about owning a company, consult my mother here and have her set your workplace culture for you so that something like this doesn't come back to bite you in 5 years.
Thank you for the plug.
You're welcome. Anytime.
All right. So anyway, that's our 2 cents for today on
2 sides to a coin.
Yeah, workplace culture is very important, and it's not it's not just about open
communication.
No, I'm talking about open cubicles and pool tables and video games in the break room. You know, that's not culture. It's really, culture is about what you started saying, communication and how people feel validated and valued in an organization, and whether or not they feel open enough to come to management. That's culture. It's the environment of work. So consider what your culture is, and if you're not carefully crafting what that is at every level and continuing to check up on it, then you have a challenge on your hands.
It's not enough to just set it. You have to constantly check it,
like making your bed every day.
Evolve it.
Washing the dishes every day. Yes. That's it. You have to continue to reinforce it. It's
always a process. It's never finished.
Never ending. Like child raising. All right. So I'll say goodbye. We'll say goodbye. So thank you for joining us on this episode of Toxic Culture. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.